This is game number 3 of this best of 3. Overall, this is a very important game for both of them. It is the decider game of this group. Group stage 3, so the winner of this advances into the round of 16. The loser eliminated from DreamHack Valencia. Spawning up in the top left-hand position, representing Meltdown, the red Zerg player, it is Stephano. And his opponent down to the lower right, the blue Protoss, representing Alien Invasion, none other than Patience. So this is where things start getting absolutely crazy. Because it's one game. One game makes the difference between being eliminated in the group stages or making it into the round of 16. Stephano, of course, not on a full comeback. Even though he's playing in events and stuff, he has made it very clear that he is just having a bit of playtime. Since that he is obviously off of university for the moment, having finished for the year. Patience, on the other hand, a very, very strong Protoss player. Alien Invasion really picking up some really good players recently. And Patience and Golden, probably 2 of their stars overall. Doing an incredibly good job. Forge first. This could lead into some cannons. Stephano does have an Overlord. He's going to come and put up on this high ground. That means that he won't be able to see it there. And so if any cannons do come down, it will be immediately spotted by Stephano. And that's really important for him. He will be aware that this is a build that can quite often happen. And he does see the probe coming in. He immediately sees the pylon. And knows what's up. So, probes could now get pulled. Only one getting pulled at the moment. Not too worried. If the probe dies, obviously, then that's not going to be too much fun. Because then no cannons can get made. But with the pylon nearly finished, cannons can chuck down. More drones now getting pulled. Stephano realizing this is a bit of a bad situation. He should still be able to do this. He tries to trap the probe, but of course, minimal walking and good micro from Patience is going to be stopping that. The cannon being focused by the drones at the moment. Stephano doesn't really want to have to cancel this. A second probe coming in. This is a big commitment now from Patience. He wants to end this game with a cannon rush. He wants to get into that round of 16. Stephano, if he defends, is in a very, very good spot. The pylon trying to get taken down. We do have additional cannons coming down, but no additional pylons. This is a bit of a problem now, because there's only this pylon on its way, and that can get focused down. Stephano would be wise to focus that. I'm surprised that he isn't at the moment. Takes down a cannon. That cannon is out of range of the 2 pylons, but there's 2 more Falcon cannons on their way. One more about to pop, and we've got 8 Zerglings coming through as well. This is fine. That's out of range as well. I thought that was in range, but it's not. That means that Stephano has successfully defended this, and he is in a very, very good spot. He's going to take a gas now, just to be on the safe side. The natural base for Patience only just beginning. Overall losses from that. Stephano lost 12 resources, compared to 550, 650, 800, 950 minerals was invested in this working. That is insane. It is such a big commitment from Patience. He pulled the second probe as well, continuing this on. And that is just bonkers. Waiting to see now where this game goes, because it's by no means over. Stephano is in a nice spot. He's obviously not had to invest all of this. He has got a couple of lings in his opponent's base as well. Sneaks 4 through. 4 lings is still very, very tense. 3 lings, slightly less tense. The probes can micro against them, but Stephano getting a full scout of his opponent's base, going to be able to see everything that is going on, see the timings of various constructions. May even be able to secure a couple of probe kills. 1 goes down. That's always nice. 3 probes lost compared to 0 for Stephano. Always good. Still we go around the lings trying to find any little poke and prod. They're wasting some mining time from probes, killing off any probes they can find. Whereas back at home, Stephano knows he's safe. He knows that his opponent has only just got down a gateway, for goodness sake. He can drone. He can drone so hard, and he doesn't even care. A 3rd base can come down. He knows that there is nothing that can really threaten him at this stage. The Cybercore is a long way off. It will have only just started, and Stephano will know these timings. Players of this caliber know exactly when certain buildings can come down from the timings of others, and will be taking that into account. He knows how long he can drone for. Patience isn't that far down in workers yet, but with that next wave, he's now 10 workers down. The 3rd base for Stephano can't really get punished for a long period, even if this Cybercore is finished up. Let's think about this. Because the cannon rush, this Cybercore is so much later. That means even if it was, say, a 2 base Immortal play, The robotic facility's got to finish. Warp gate tech's got to finish. The third base is already nearly finished for Stephano, so that gives him so much time to get this down. The tech choices of Stephano are going to be really interesting as well. He's gone up to 3 gases now, back at home. I'm watching these lings, but it is 3 gases. Hasn't saturated them yet. Just adding in that third one now. This could be a heavy roach-based composition. Generally, that's what you'll see out of these 3 gases, is a very heavy roach speed style play is quite common. If you saw 4 gases, it could be a quick rush up into Swarm Host or say Mutalisks or something. The double evolution chamber is also coming down, and by no means, just because we see the 3 gases, does it definitely mean we're going to be getting some heavy roach style play. But it is definitely on the cards, especially if Stephano is aware of how far ahead he is. Now, Patience moving down a probe. He could go to try and secure up a third as a bit of a risk, and I say it is a bit of a risk, but it is essential he does it. If he doesn't get down a third, he's so far behind economically that it'd be very difficult to come back from that. He needs to make up for the fact that he's lost 1,125 resources this game, and most of which were from that initial cannon rush that did nothing apart from force a couple of lings. The Mothership Core has been forced back. 22 speedlings are going to be on the way. Speed won't be done for them. It's only just begun. The Le's also on its way for Stephano. He's gone up to the 4 gases now. Started up the 1-1 melee upgrades. So these lings are going to be quite irritating. It's a very similar opening to game number 1 from Stephano here. Patience needs this third base. It's going to be really tough for him to hold. The photon cannon is going to be completed and supported by these 2 gateways. Oh no, there's a gap. Okay, there's a gap there. This is a bit of a problem. The lings aren't in a great spot. Nice force field from Patience. Means only 1 ling can attack at a time. That's not too helpful. But it also leaves open the natural. Is there a gap there? There is. In come the lings. They're going to come streaming through. A lot of probes in problems now. Patience leaving that wall off incomplete risks a lot of damage. Not too many probes getting taken out yet. The lings slowly getting taken down. Emergency response by Patience pulling those probes. So it does waste mining time. It does mean that he loses 10 probes in total this game so far. Stephano is supply blocked at the moment. Just starting up those overlords now. This is rather a big supply block that he probably would have preferred to avoid. Spire and Infestation Pit also on its way. But in terms of tech now, for Patience, he's only just beginning up his robotics facility. That is his first tech-based structure. The advantage for him, though, is that he does have his third base now up and running. That's pretty important. But how long can he keep it for? This is a lot of speedlings. They don't have 1-1 yet, but it's getting close to completion. Quick little warp in, but there's a gap. A couple of lings come through. The sentry going to take damage, but does get the force field down in time. 2 more force fields coming behind. These lings are going to be sacrificed. Stephano potentially being a little bit too bold there. Maybe thinking he's got the opportunity to stream in. Doesn't get it, loses all the Zerglings for pretty much nothing but a sentry there. So, not the best trade. He's taking a 4th base behind it. And don't forget, he's supplying a lot of pressure. And that pressure is keeping Patience on his toes. Patience now adding in a Dark Shrine. A little bit hidden here. Down at the 3rd base. May not get checked. But when behind, Dark Shrine, as they say. What is the Observer counter? Sorry, the Overseer counter. Just the 1. It's coming in towards the main base. It sees the Twilight Council without seeing... Oh, it does know that the Forge is there, so... But that's researching +1 at the moment, so... That's quite interesting. Only other thing, though, is May suspect that since it's not researching, that something sneaky is happening. If it comes and checks down towards the 3rd base, we'll be able to scout that Dark Shrine. And seeing the Dark Shrine would be really important. Knowing that that's coming down is just a big scout, and it does manage to see it. That will 100% be spotted. Shouldn't be confused with a pylon. Speedlings now coming through. Looking to see if they can get a surround on these sentries. Are able to get a little bit of a surround. Force fields, though, coming through. The sentries will survive, although some taking a lot of energy. Forcing a lot of force fields out as well, due to the fact that it was a quick response, preventing those lings getting any kills. The Dark Shrine is being allowed to finish, but Stephano transitioning into Mutas. The Mutalisk count already up at 10. 3 more on the way. A couple of Archons would be very, very strong here. Archons are good against Mutas, just because of the splash damage against air. But when will that get there? The Dark Templar moving forward. There is, of course, the War Prism. The Mutalisks should be on an intercept path. Oh, they turn at the last second! They turn literally at the last second. Are they going to come back? Okay, they see the War Prism. That's quite important. Do they see the shimmering? They should be able to see the shimmering of that Dark Templar. A couple of spines here. Is there any Overseers morphing? No, not as of yet. Where are they? There's none on the field. There's not a single overseer. The first swipe of this Dark Templar is going to be frustrating for Stephano. He's going into Ultras. Adrenal Gland's also on its way. Already up into that Hive Tech. Where are the Mutas? The Mutas can do a lot of damage, though. There's only 8 Sentries and 3 Stalkers to defend against them. The double Stargate has been begun in order to begin Phoenix production. But the important thing is Stephano goes. There are a couple of Photon Cannons as well. They're going to help. It's only where it's exposed. There's a couple of places. The main base is actually completely open. The Dark Templar doing some nice damage here for Patience. He's racked up now up to that 7 work kills. 8 kills on that Dark Templar alone. In the main base, an Overseer is there. The worker count, though, 75 to 71 in advantage of Patience. Very interesting to see how this is going. Meanwhile, Mutalisks in the main base of Patience dealing a little bit of damage, racking up a couple more kills. The Photon Overcharge is going to slowly diminish the count of Mutas, but they get a Colossus for their trouble. That's going to be a relatively good trade for Stephano, who is now beginning his production of Ultralisks. Lots of Lings streaming in. Picking off a couple of Pylons as well is always going to be frustrating. Some Zealots being warped in as a response to this. Remember, it's 2-2 up against 1-1 on these Lings compared to Zealots, so the Lings are in a nice spot. The Ultra's still on their way. Viper coming through as well. There is only going to be the 2 Ultralisks initially, but they will have chitinous plating. That's just started up now. It's also going to have 3-3. That's still on its way. And Adrenal Glands has actually just kicked in for those Zerglings as well, so they're going to get that nice attack speed boost. Stephano discovered a Warp Prism over to the right, going to be able to pick that off quickly, but the Mutalisks have got a limited time on the map, because Phoenix are about, and they're going to be looking to snipe him off. But note Stephano didn't massively invest in those Mutas. He only went to 13. His aim was to just cause a bit of hurt, as opposed to win the game with them. His plan is to get up into these Ultras and lead his opponent into the wrong army composition. And Stephano has done that very nicely. His opponent has gone up to 7 Phoenix. Completely useless up against Ultras and very inefficient up against Lings. He's got a lot of Zealots. Again, not that strong up against those Ultralisks. Phoenix, though, are getting a lot of harassment damage done. Picking apart quite a few workers. Stephano now having lost 12 this game. Queen's going to be trying to stop some of this. Meanwhile, the Mutas coming back through. If they see the free beacon, they could have tried to take that out, but it looks like they don't want to go for that. Instead, just going for the guaranteed damage in the main base. There's still no photon cannons, and the army of Patience is quite a long way away in order to deal with this. So he's having to force all of these probes to be pulled down towards the natural base. A couple more getting picked off. Both players sustaining quite heavy worker losses. Ultras and Lings heading in from the other side, and this multi-pronged harassment and attacking is being really frustrating. The Ultras now coming forward, just 3 of them, and they're not really supported by anything. Interesting decision to go for this. The Voidway's there as well, going to do a nice bit of damage up against those Ultras. The 3-3 upgrade's not quite done, but chitinous plating is completed. In grand total, there is currently 8 Ultralisks on the field, but the counter to those is streaming through. There's 2 Immortals, 2 Voidways, and 3 Voidways being produced at a time, as well as that second robotic facility about to double up the production. But Stephano's going for this now. The Ultra's getting a good surface area onto those Zealots, picking them apart. Of course, the Voidways can't be focused by anything. There's no anti-air in this army, but the Ultras can deal a lot of damage before they die. You can see their health just slowly trickling away, even with prismatic alignment. The Ultras just trying to maximize the area on the buildings here, pushing through towards this third base. They want to try and take it down. Patience doesn't have much if this falls. The Nexus being pretty much surrounded by Ultralisks. The damage is good. The Voidways trying to take out the Ultras in time. It's going to be pretty close. 1 remains. Is it going to get it in time? No! The Nexus is going to stand. Patience just keeping it alive. 100 HP there. If that had gone down, Patience would have been in a very rough spot. Keeping it alive really has kept Patience in this game. If that had gone down, Patience would have been in masses of trouble. It's still a big vulnerability. Don't mistake that. It's a weak spot. Still only going to have shields and 100 HP. Regardless, though, it can still mine. It's still a base. It's still income. And that's what Patience needs it for. The Voidway count's still increasing, and note the fact we've got +1 air weapons coming through. This is because a Muta transition wouldn't actually be a bad decision for Stephano. He's got a lot of gas banked up, but not too much in the way of minerals. He's spending a lot of that in producing as many Zerglings as he seems possible. Waiting now to see what else comes through. The Ultra's coming towards the 4th base. There's a good number of them here. This 4th Nexus doesn't really have much of an army in position to defend it. The Voidways coming on through, but that Nexus will fall. These are 3-5 Ultras 3-3 Lings with speed. So they're doing a good job. The Ultralisk's dying though and losing all of these Ultras in exchange for a Nexus. And that's going to be very, very irritating for Stephano because he's got a decent bank. His 5th base not yet done though, so not completely in the spot where he can just flood Ultralisks all day and be happy with it. Overall, the army supply. Oh, the overall supply pretty tight. Patience slightly up in army supply now. He's still producing a couple of Immortals, but has stopped the Void Ray production now. Adding in a couple more Archons, and that's a really good choice because the Archons are going to be very strong if there was a Muta switch. And of course, Patience will be highly aware the Mutalisks would be a good decision for Stephano now, knowing that there's a lot of Void Rays in the composition. So still, everything looking pretty close. Patience gearing up for a bit more aggression though. He's not maxed out yet. He's about, well, he's 17 supply off maxed. His upgrades are sitting at the 2-1 upgrades for the ground and +1 air attack. Stephano is well ahead there. 3-3 with Adrenal Glands, with Chitinous Plating for his Ultras. A little bit of Zealot harassment coming through. A few Stalkers up on the high ground here, utilizing the map well. And Patience doing a good job overall. Does lose his 4th base though, is forced to cancel it thanks to a couple of Speedlings. The Speedlings encountering the rest of that army just decide, nope, don't want in on that party, they run away. Bit of a big response here from Stephano to 3 Stalkers. These Ultras going to be having a bit of a field day. The Speedlings may actually try and intercept that just to pick it all off. A couple more Infestors coming through into the mix as well. There's already 6 there, 3 more on the way, going up to 9. That's going to be looking for some big fungal growths. If he gets those fungals on the Void Rays, able to take them down, that'd be good for him. Overall, Stephano's got a good bang. He's probably gearing towards wanting to get a good trade and then switch. If he can take out the ground army and then switch into Mutas, he's in a good spot. The Archon's the big danger. If he can get up a big bank. He is at 5 bases to the 3 of Patience. Although Patience, again, trying to secure up this 4th. It's been a bit of a problem area for him. Stephano's doing a great job of repeatedly denying this 4th base. Remember, this game is the decider on whether or not they advance into the round of 16 of DreamHack Valencia, or if they are eliminated from the tournament. A couple of Fungals being used here to take down a War Prison. The Queen's coming over, of which there are a heck of a lot of them, ready to transfuse Ultralisks. Take down that War Prison. A couple of Swarm Hosts being added into the mix as well. This is an interesting choice. Stephano wants to buy as much time as he can as this goes through, waiting to see where all of these Archons, where all these Void Rays decide to go, whether this 5th base will be able to stand. Of course, the Queen's coming forward as well. The transfuse energy going to be essential in any prolonged engagement. We're 25 minutes, or just past that, but the Swarm Hosts are coming. That could be the start of a very, very long game here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be all down to what Patience decides to do. If Stephano is allowed to sit in his comfort zone, which really are Swarm Hosts, that's where Stephano is happy to sit and wait. Storm's coming through. The army composition from Patience really isn't that great against Swarm Hosts. It's actually pretty bad. The Storm is the only chance he's really got. But, of course, having that Storm there, it does deal with 1, maybe 2 waves of Locust. But after that, the energy on the High Templar, gone. Of course, the other thing the High Templar are there for is to get the feedbacks on the Infestors. If they can get big feedbacks on them, prevent those fungal growths coming through, that's going to cause some more problems. Waiting now to see if and when Stephano decides to go for this. A couple of Lings indecisive on whether they want to go and counterattack or whether they're needed in the main defense. First few Locusts coming through. A Storm on its way. Big fungal growth comes down, catches all of those Void Rays. Chain Fungals still on their way. A mass recall trying to come through, and Patience realizes that trade wouldn't be too great for him. Backs away to the 4th to defend against a Speedling counter attack. Overall, if we take a look at the units tab, we can see that there's 6 Swarm Hosts, 4 Ultralisks, 9 Infestors, and 4 Vipers. They're going up against a very powerful army of Patience. Patience overall, active forces, he's just got a lot more gas in his army composition at the moment, so that's quite important for him. He's also now adding in a couple of Colossi. The important thing is that he needs to make sure that he can free up some supply for those Colossus without exposing himself to too much risk short term. But he does really need those Colossi, because once the Swarm Host count starts spiraling up, and with 12 more coming out, it's already there, he can't sustain an engagement up against repeated waves of Locusts. Zealot counter-attacking is going to be important. And the other concern to Stephano is he's going to have to try and take a 6th base soon. And this one over to the left is his only real choice. After that, he can't go really long term. So King Sejong Station isn't the greatest map for ultra long games. Stephano can hold it for a while, but it's quite a wide map. And if he does have to take this 6th, defending both locations will be a bit more challenging for him. Resources lost, we can see that Stephano has actually lost a good amount more resources than that of his opponents. So with that factored in, we need to make sure that Patience just keeps trading cost effectively, which is going to be very difficult up against Locusts. Although this army is absolutely petrifying. Look at the number of Voidways, look at the number of Archons. The Colossus count is still pretty low, but with 7 more gateways coming in, obviously there can be more aggression from these Warpins. The Ultra Cavern will get transfused, trying to keep that up. The Dark Templar getting some good damage through. Upgrades for Patience are still 3-1-1, so Stephano, with the advantage there at the moment, is going to be able to take down that Warp Prism. It's not going to get away much further. Swarm Host count staying up at 17. But Patience also looking to get some more damage through. Checks up to this left-hand base, see if a 6th has been taken. Stephano, of course, going to be very aware that his opponent is going to be looking to punch through into the natural base. The Voidway's dealing a lot of damage. This is an awkward engagement for Patience. Fungal Growths could be very strong here, and they are really hitting the mark. The Locust now coming through. A couple of Abducts coming in onto those Voidways. The Spore Crawler's trying to get that damage through, trying to pick them apart. A couple of Fungal Growths going down as well. Stephano holds that engagement. He's able to keep his natural base up, just losing a little bit of static defense, but Patience losing a bit more of his army. The concern now for Stephano is that Patience is on 5 bases. He's on equal bases to him, so he has to start trading cost effectively. What will be a challenge to that is the fact that Tempests are coming in. 5 Tempests are already in production. They've got a great range, and as far as Stephano's concerned, he doesn't have an ideal response to those. The Infestors aren't great against them. Even with the Abducts, he's going to have to try and get them into the range of that Spore Crawler wall, which as of yet isn't really assembled. There are 20 Spore Crawlers down, but they're quite spread out at different bases. It's not like there's a one-hit win. Stephano attempting now to take up this 6th base, and as I said a long time ago, this 6th base is going to be a challenge. It's a long way away from his 4th and 5th, and that means spreading these Swarm Hosts a little bit thinner. One Spine not going to be enough to defend against this, and the Spire is actually in quite an exposed position at the moment. Luckily there was a second one right next to it, so it can still be seen as I'm looking around everywhere, but these Zealots shouldn't be able to get to it, just taking a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, the 6th base for Stephano is not going to be held. A cancel already coming through, but a counterattack of these Locusts on their way, and a couple of Ultras, or one Ultra, leading the charge through. Going to try and take out this base. However, Patience also pushing in. He's got the Tempest there. Stephano is going to be completely aware that that is a bit of a problem for him. He's trying to get out some Corruptors. There's not much in the way of anti-air other than those Archons. The 5th base of Patience taking a lot of damage. The probe line being decimated. 34 probes remain for Patience at the moment, so he's really relying on this army. A couple of Storms coming in, going to try and take out those Locusts as they push forward. Stephano wants to deny this base before he comes back to try and defend. Still, the Swarm Host looking to reposition, wanting to take this engagement head on. The Mothership Core does have enough energy for a Mass Recall, and now heading 200, can Mass Recall and Time Warp. Both could be useful. Little counterattack still coming in now from Stephano. He's got those 3-3 upgrades on both ground and air. Up against the 3-1-1 of Patience on the ground, and in his air, Patience does has the +3 attack. So he's got very powerful Voidways at the moment, very powerful Tempest. Overall, the Swarm Host count sitting at 17 at the moment. We're 34 minutes into this game, and a couple of units have actually been caught out of position here, only by Locust though, so not able to deal the damage quite quickly enough to pick them all off. Patience also has this base over to the right-hand side. It would have been his 6th, but not able to hold that middle base means that it's only his 5th base. Stephano, though, hasn't been able to retake up his own 6th, though. He's lost his natural, which doesn't really matter because he was mined out anyway, so it's just the production hurt. But overall, this is a very strange spot. +3 shields coming in now from the Forge for the Protoss army. That's going to benefit all of the units. Very important, especially those Archons going to benefit from that. Little Zealot Warp in, attempting to get some damage done, but not going to be able to do much. Stephano coming back to defend that quite promptly. Worth noting that his Hive and Infestation Pit are up here. Stephano has also rebuilt a Spire, Doesn't need actually 2 because he's already got those 3-3 upgrades there. Locust trying to chip away. Not too much else coming in. Stephano's bank is insane, by the way. 9,000, 5,600. He can remax on pretty much whatever his heart desires. He could get anything. Against this army composition, what does he want to get? Well, the Archon count is still at 11, but that's the main form of anti-air. If those Archons ceased to exist and the Storms weren't fantastic, Mutalisks would be terrifying. Not getting there anytime soon yet, though. A couple of infested Terrans trying to get dropped down there. Patience, his bank is nowhere near the same as Stephano. Stephano has been able to really slaughter the worker line. 74 probes have died this game. Pretty insane. Leaves him with only 33, and income-wise, despite having those bases, it's not looking that pretty yet for Patience. Noisy producing anymore. Couple more Corruptors coming in, couple more Vipers coming in. Stephano's going to want to try and chip away at this army slowly and steadily. Down goes that 6th base. It was completed. A couple of Ultralisks coming into their death. This does free up supply for Stephano, but the important thing is he doesn't free up supply too quickly. He needs to be able to resupply that. He's down to 172 supply. Needs to decide what he wants to make with that. It's pushing him with a couple of Speedlings now. Trying to deal some counter damage into this. But Stephano's still not producing anything. Stephano produced stuff. You've got a massive bank. 10,000, 5,000 basically. He makes a lot of Vipers. 6 of them coming through. Ling's still trading. That still doesn't fill up the supply though. Locust coming on in. They're trying to engage against this. The hive gets taken down, so no more Vipers can be made at the moment. There isn't another hive anywhere around. The lair just remorphing now at that natural, but with the infestation pit also going down, it causes a problem. This Protoss army isn't trapped. Remember, there's the mothership core, so a recall can come through. That's going to go over to the 6th base, or the right-hand base here. Trying to just keep that alive. Stephano down to only the 3 hatcheries, so his production is actually quite hurt. He's also not injecting. He's also mined out of all bases bar this one in the center here, so he's only on 1 mining base. Not the money is really an issue to him at the moment, but unless he can get a decisive win, it's going to be quite tough. The trouble is as well, with only those 3 hatches, he's only got 9 lava on the field at the moment, and that does hurt him because he can't go for a big muta switch because of that. Patience is looking to be in a good spot now. He's up in supply, and the trouble for Stephano is I don't see how he's going to be able to engage against this too well. He does have a lot of Corruptors and a lot of Vipers, so he can look to start abducting in those Tempests, the Colossus. The Voidways have all died. There's none of those left on the field, so the Tempests can get taken down, the 3 Colossi can get taken down. But the Immortals and Archons don't have a response yet. The Lava are still the biggest problem for Stephano. He doesn't really have any. He has like 9. His queen count is non-existent. He doesn't have a queen, so no injects, and that's one of the reasons he's so limited in the lava at the moment. Adding in a couple more swarm hosts. Okay, this is an interesting choice here. Stephano knows he's in a bit of a rough spot. This base over to the left is so important for him right now. This base is mined out. He should really be repositioning his army over to the left-hand side to keep this base secure. That's essential for him, getting that mining base up and running. Very tense times. Stephano's bank has diminished. Adding in 15 more swarm hosts. That's going to take him up to a huge amount. That's going to take him up to 31 swarm hosts. If anyone can make that work, though, it will be Stephano. His Corruptor count's good. He's got 14 Corruptors and, of course, those 8 Vipers. So if he can take out the Tempest, 31 swarm hosts really can deal with anything else. Unfortunately, that 4th, or I've even lost count, what would be a 6th if all the other bases are up, has just got taken down by by Patience. So Stephano once more left to just this 1 mining base. And as I've said, as people in the Twitch chat have mentioned, that doesn't matter when you've got a big bank. Short term. But look at the Vespian. Under 3,000 now. It's trickling away. It's disappearing quicker than Stephano had wanted to. He cannot afford to lose Vespian heavy units. Nice little abduct coming down on those Tempests. 2 are going to get taken down. That leaves only 3 more remaining. The Vipers stayed alive. 2 of the Corruptors died in exchange for that, so that's always going to hurt. Still though, waiting to see what Patience does. Patience is sitting back. He's kind of in an awkward spot. He's reproducing 4 more Tempests, so if that trend continues, Stephano doesn't want to kill anymore if they're always replaced with one more. Meanwhile, Patience playing a bold game. He's saying, well, Stephano, you want this 6th base. Guess what? It's mine. The Locusts probably aren't going to be too happy about that. A couple of Archons sitting around to the left there, or to the right side of the map, waiting to see if they can go in. More Locusts edging forward, not really taking much out. If we look at the worker count, resources lost, it's pretty level now. So that means Stephano has been trading a lot better than previously. At the start of this game, well, not even at the start, around the 20-minute mark, Stephano is quite a long way down in the resources lost, but still this keeps going. I should have done a pizza game for this. Definitely should have done a pizza game for this. I would have done one if I reached my monthly sub goal. I would still do it if I reached my monthly sub goal. Anyway, Stephano is going to start really hurting for income. This 5th base getting very low on minerals. Stephano is pretty much maxed out though. He's maxed upgrades. But so is Patience. Patience only has the only upgrades he's missing is +2 and 3 air armor and +3 ground armor. Otherwise he's fully upgraded. Stephano though moving forward. He's got a decent number of abducts here. Grabs the mothership core. Grabs a couple of Tempests as well. That's going to hurt. The Corruptor's able to one-shot through. They're getting a couple of good shots off. Storm comes through. Patience takes quite a beating there. Patience is still really struggling in terms of his overall money. He's lost his base up to the top left. Stephano playing things very, very safe. Very, very carefully. And as long as he keeps this going, he is okay. Because Stephano does still have a decent-sized bank. As long as he doesn't lose units, as long as he doesn't end up losing this gas in a one big hit, he should be okay. That was just a revelation. I panicked as the minimap flapped at me there. Stephano looking to try and gun down these bases. Patience mined out at the left-hand base. The right-hand base still full. This center base still full as well. So there's 2 mining bases for Patience. Meanwhile, Stephano, he's pretty much mined out. He's not got any mineral income, only gas income at the moment. Quick abduct takes down that war prison very rapidly thanks to the Corruptors. And this is a very unusual spot. Stephano, he is maxed out. Patience has still got an army, but I don't see how he can engage this. Even with the Tempest, there's just... This army composition for Stephano is beautiful. 21 Corruptors, those 8 Vipers. He can quickly dispatch any of these Tempests as long as he gets a couple of nice abducts. The 31 Swarm Host just won't die quickly enough for Patience. And Patience can't afford to lose this army. Patience is in a rough spot. Stephano is definitely ahead at this stage. Just because he's not having to spend that bank. He's got into the most incredibly cost-effective position he could want. Look at how he's hardly lost any resources, whereas Patience has lost about 4,000 in the last couple of minutes. 45 minutes into this game, the Tempest still shooting away, trying to get that damage through wherever they can. And still, Patience sits back. Stephano's in a very good spot. He's also started building up this static defense wall. That's going to help him even further when he gets those abducts. Couple of abducts coming through now. One Tempest instantly gets taken out. A good Storm gets a lot of those Corruptors, but it's only the one. The Archons underneath, though, are doing a lot more work, especially with the aid of those Storms as well. That did a good amount of damage. Stephano loses 3 Vipers and a lot of Corruptors. But he took out a couple more of those Tempests, and the trouble for Patience is he cannot afford to resupply them. The big thing as well for Stephano is he's brought a handful of these Swarm Hosts, a grand total of 9 of them, over to defend this 6th base. If he keeps it up, he is in an amazing spot with that. That gives him some income, it gives him some more breathing room. The Swarm Host slowly edging on through as well. There's a couple of Swarm Hosts also going over to this right-hand base, and Patience is going to lose that now. He can't defend both this center base and the right-hand one. It is just impossible. Forward comes Stephano now, with those Locusts ever so slowly edging in. Patience feels like he's trapped in a cave with a rising tide against these Swarm Hosts. He knows he's in a very dire position. Waiting now to see where, when, how this next trade comes through. A couple of Archons trying to do some damage, but this isn't going to be able to do much. The static defense alone will be able to stop these Archons. Stephano, of course, got this left mining base. He's in a beautiful spot. Patience is honestly hurting so much at the moment. His army is still in a good position. he can hold this spot for quite a while, although he's slowly losing a couple of more units actually. He's actually losing a surprisingly large amount of these locusts, and as the army dwindles, as the army depletes in supply, it gets so much harder for him to stop each wave. The Locust still pushing through. Patience's army supply down to 118 to 183 of Stephano. Stephano is in a very good spot. He's pretty much all army supply now. Couple of storms going through. Patience going for it. This is a bold move for him. Locust coming in from behind. The Colossi taking a bit of damage. The Archons also taking a bit of a beating. Of course, the Spore Crawlers having to back away, having to be careful. There's 11 Tempests on the field. 4 Colossi. Only 3 High Templar. 1 High Templar remains. The Locust still pushing through. Patience down to 110 supply. GG is called, and Stephano is able to advance 2-1 over Patience into the round of 16 of DreamHack Valencia.